Twilight time, twilight time, twilight time. So, sorry I missed last week's one. It was a bit of a crazy day for me, and it completely passed by. And I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Tuesday," and then I decided just to leave it, not to go back and do it, and that I would come back and discuss part two of my two-part series on Bronies. If you remember, two Tuesdays ago now, I talked about the who, what, where, and when of Bronies, and today I'm going to talk about the why. Why do mostly men um, like My Little Pony, which is supposed to be a show for girls? In case you missed that two-part, well, the first part of this episode a couple of weeks ago, I'll put it in the show notes or one of those like, click here type things, and you can check that part out before you get any further into this. All right, for this one, I'm going to kind of look at it from three perspectives. What bronies say, what kind of professional psychologists have said, and also some random theories that are kind of just floating around the internet and stuff that are kind of interesting. So bronies themselves have a ton of reasons for liking it. Some of the reasons are actually the show themselves. They talk about how good the animation is, how it's very clean. There's a few errors here and there, but it really, the characters, you get so much about them by looking at the animation, the quality of it. It's very seamless. The facial expressions portray the emotion that they're trying to portray in it. Music is one of the biggest ones. People love the music. The music in the show is really good. There's a lot of really catchy songs, everything from like an 80s rock to like a barbershop-y kind of thing, quartet, to kind of an operatic thing. So tons of different varieties of music for different people that like it. And the music's been taken and it's been put into different genres too. So now you have pony music that's like hardcore, like heavy metal. There's grunge, there's rap, there's ska, there's tons of things. And bronies have taken their love of the show and created music about it. So you get all of these artists who are known for just being brony artists. So Living Tombstone is just probably the most famous, but there's tons of them out there besides them. They also like it for the show itself. The characters are well developed, well voice acted. Some of the best voice actors around do them, particularly Twilight Sparkle, which is done by Tara Strong, and she's done like a million different things. You can look her up on the internet. They also like it for the stories, the lessons, the morals that they learn. That's another reason. Another reason why bronies like the show is they like it for the other bronies, so the community that they get. They can go and they meet up at the mall and they discuss the show and they have fun all out together. So these are some of the reasons that the bronies themselves have identified with the show. Some psychologists have done some research on this and they come up with a few ideas themselves. And one of the ideas that they have mentioned was the meetups, the personal relationships, especially if some of the bronies are people who maybe are a little bit socially awkward or have a hard time meeting people. This is a chance to meet people right at their level, what they're interested in. It's a very welcoming and accepting community, and that works very well for them. The other thing that psychologists have looked at is the kind of, I guess, the psychological turmoil of the world we live in. Post 9/11, there's fears of terrorism and global warming and economic problems and all these sort of things. And this show offers an escape to a world where those don't really exist. And whether it's half an hour every week or whenever they're watching them on their own, they have a chance just to escape from that, to get out of that reality. And people really like that. It kind of helps them get through their days, and this show has become that for many people. And then the third reason that these psychologists have looked at is that in some cases, people are actually learning legitimate lessons from the show. And I'm not talking about the little children who watch it. I'm talking about the grown men who watch it. So maybe they were raised in a home where they didn't learn these lessons. Maybe they've never sunk in. And some people are actually picking up on how to be a better friend, how to behave better in society from the show. And whether consciously or subconsciously, they're kind of getting this, and then they're being drawn to it, and it's kind of helping them improve as a person, which I think is very interesting that this show can provide that for people. The final kind of category of reasons or whatever are some of these fun little ones that are floating around. I've read a bunch of them, but some of the ones that I liked is that as the geek culture, so the culture of comic books and video games and board games, whole thing, has slowly become melded into general pop culture. So we see the success of the Marvel movies. We see the popularity of Big Bang Theory. We see the billions of dollars being thrown around in the video game industry. Now, the people who traditionally liked that culture, because it was a little bit niche, a little bit separate, have moved into something different. So they look to a different culture where they can be small, where they can be connected that way. And bronies and ponies have become something that people have kind of gravitated to, that as their culture has been usurped and put into the mass pop culture, which they don't particularly care for. Another random brony fact or theory as to why they might like bronies or like ponies is kind of a bit Freudian. This one actually came up with myself, and some people find it interesting, some people think it's completely crazy. But I think that on a subconscious level, these are men, mostly straight, who are emerging from high school into university, and they're starting to realize or figure out what they want in a long-term wife or partner. So if you're a person who loves action, you want to go out and you want to bungee jump and, dune buggy and camping and off-roading, whatever, you may be subconsciously drawn to the Rainbow Dash character because this is something you're looking for ideally in a mate. Maybe you're someone who likes to read, have a quiet dinner, maybe just see a movie, have intellectual conversation. You may be subconsciously attracted to Twilight as a character because it matches what you're looking for in a female partner. So these people are seeing these characters that they're identifying with either as themselves or as someone that they would like to have a romantic relationship with, and are subconsciously being attracted to them and thus being attracted to the show. Ooh, heady stuff, I know. That just gives you like a quick, brief overview of why bronies say they like ponies, why people say they like ponies, and some of the other theories kind of floating around there. All right, next week we're going to talk a little bit about economics, and the question that I really want you to think about over the week is, do you see the economic system that we have today as being an organic living organism or a machine which can be tinkered and toyed with? All right, well, until I talk to you next week, bro hoof.